Today we will be discussing the magma and the various deposits that are formed by crystallization of the magma, or in terms of igneous economy pathology we call them as the magmatic concentration deposits. They You all know that magmatic ore deposits are characterized by their close relationship with intermediate or deep seated intrusive igneous rocks. They themselves are igneous rocks whose composition happens to be of a particular value to man. Means these deposits, that magmatic concentration of deposits, they are the igneous rocks. But fortunate part is that their composition is of particular value to man. Otherwise, as such, your they are the igneous rocks. But in these igneous rocks, there are some valuable components, or you can say the elements. Naturally, that's why they are called the magmatic concentration or deposits. They are magmatic products that crystallize from magmas. So means that is as normal. You all know that we classify minerals as ore minerals and the rock forming minerals. Ore minerals are those from which one or more metallic compounds can be extracted economically, whereas rock forming minerals, they are the essential constituents of the rocks. They doesn't have the economic value in that sense. So this is now as such, when magma crystallizes, naturally the ore minerals as well as your rock forming minerals, they crystallize. And if these ore minerals, they crystallize prior to the crystallization of your rock forming minerals, we call them as the early magmatic deposits. But vice versa, if they crystallize later to your rock forming minerals, we call them the late magmatic deposits. So, in simple sense, you try to understand that these deposits, magmatic concentrated deposits, they are the product of magma, and they are formed simply as igneous rocks are formed, in the same way as the igneous rocks are formed, right? So the mode of formation is the magmatic ore deposits results from simple crystallization or from concentration by differentiation of intrusive masses. Now the what call them as the igneous rocks, facies deposits. Naturally, they are the igneous rock facies. Now, as you know, magma consists of multitude of constituents which are mutual solutions. As the magma approaches the earth's surface, its temperature and the external pressure drops, with the result of the crystallization and differentiation of minerals in a definite sequence. The formation of, or you can say the formation temperature of different magmatic deposits varies from 1500 degree to 300 degrees. Right. So this is, you all know the Bowman reaction series. Now this Bowman reaction series, you all know that N.L. Bowman in 1928, he worked out the crystallization of minerals, the order of crystallization of minerals from a magma. This on the left hand side, he has arranged your mafic minerals. Amongst the mafic, it is the olivine that crystallizes early, then the pyroxene, amphibole, and your biotite ultimately. On the right hand side, he has arranged the order of crystallization of your felsic minerals. Means anorthite or most calcic feldspar, coming down to your last albite, most sodic. So this is from calcic to sodic. That is, you can say albite, oleoclase, andesine, labradorite, bitonite, and anorthite. Means most calcic crystallize early, and slowly sodic nature of feldspars comes on with crystallization. And then these two series they merge, and that form is your orthoclase, that is your potash feldspar. And last, that mineral crystallizes from magma is the quartz. So during this, you can say from 1400 degree to 800 degree, this is the order of formation of your rock forming minerals. The initial nature is your mafic, then the intermediate, then it comes to the felsic nature. Now, you can say your deposits, if your, say for example, your diamonds are found in your kimberlite. Naturally, kimberlite is an ultramafic rock which has olivine and pyroxene as the essential mineral constituents. Right. So, if these minerals crystallize and if they have some valuable ore deposits, naturally that will be called or will be said to have been formed by the magmatic concentration deposits. Now, these magmatic processes we can divide, as I said, into early magmatic and late magmatic. Then this early magmatic again can be divided into your disseminated, segregation and injection. Similarly, your late magmatic can be divided into residual liquid segregation, residual liquid injection, immiscible liquid segregation, immiscible liquid injection. So this is the nature of your ore minerals that are found. On that basis, it has been divided, this magmatic process, into this. Now, the early magmatic deposits formed during early stages of magmatic period. Early stages of magmatic period means ore minerals crystallize earlier than the rock silicates. Minerals of your nickel, chromium, platinum are found by this process. The common means ore minerals of your nickel, chromium, for example, chromite and platinum, they are found by this process. Now, this disseminated deposits, thus disseminated means simple crystallization of deep-seated magma without concentration. Means they don't, these ore minerals, they don't concentrate, but they crystallize. And they are found in form of disseminated. No set positions, no concentration. Just if you put 1 gram of 1 palm of grams into an wheat, and then you just उसको थोड़ा हिला दो बोरी के अंदर, चने गेहूं की बोरी में चने डाल दो, उनको हिला दो. अब वो चनों की जो लोकेशन होगी, दैट विल बी इन द डिसेमिनेटेड फॉर्म इन दैट गेहूं की बोरी. राइट, सेम वे इन दैट igneous mass, that rocks, these diamonds, they are found in the disseminated form, means they simple crystallize without concentration. Then early formed granular crystals of minerals are disseminated throughout the body. These are found disseminated, or you can say scattered throughout the body. The whole rock mass or part of it may result to deposits. Deposits have shape of intrusive, which have like dike, pipe or small stalk like masses. Their size is large, right? So examples of, you can say, this is, you can say, in the of disseminated deposits, or the common one is the diamond pipes in South Africa, this Bushveld igneous complex, where diamonds are sparsely disseminated throughout the kimberlite rock, and whole kimberlite pipe is the mineral deposit. Because we cannot select, that is disseminated through and through, so we have to mine the whole, you can say, the igneous pipe, or say the rock which is there in that case. Then disseminated corundum deposits in nepheline cyanides of Ontario. This is another example of disseminated form, that corundums, they are found disseminated in the nepheline cyanide in Ontario. Then another example, disseminated deposit of diamond pipes of your Majgaon, Panna, Madhya Pradesh. Here also the diamonds, they are in the form of disseminated form. And another example, Indian example, is the disseminated deposits of diamond pipes of Vazarkur in Andhra Pradesh. Right, so these are the, you can say, generally the precious, or you can say diamond you are noting here. Such deposits can be economic only if naturally they are disseminated, they are not segregated or concentrated, but because of their high value, or you can say the market price, they can be worked as, or they can be mined out, and they are the deposits. The next is categories of the segregation deposits. They are formed due to gravitative crystallization of early formed heavy minerals. Early formed heavy crystals sinks to the lower part of the chamber and segregate in bodies of sufficient size. These deposits are generally of lenticular pod-shaped lenses, bunches, and are of smaller in size. Right. So they are the, you can say, because the minerals which crystallize, you have seen in the bound reaction principle, the mineral will crystallize early. Because of high specific gravity, or you can say the density, they sink and they form one layer, or you can say a layer. So same way your ore minerals also, when they have high density, they naturally settle, sink, and they form the segregate pod shaped or lenses in that case. The examples of that have been worked out for segregation deposits are your Stillwater complex Montana, where chromium, platinum. Right, then have been deposited. Bushveld igneous complex chromite deposits. Very characteristic example of the, you can say, the segregation deposits is the Bushveld igneous complex, the chromite deposits. Right. Then again the chromite deposits in India, if you call it, they are Sukinda, that is in the Odisha. They are also again the example of the segregation deposits. And layer anthracite segregated deposits in Sinthampundi complex, Salem, Tamil Nadu. Right. So these are the examples of your segregation deposits. Then the magmatic injection. In this case, the metallic concentration, instead of remaining at the place of their original accumulation, get injected into the adjacent solid rock masses. Right. It occurs in the residual magmatic stage. And the common example that is quoted worldwide is the magnetite deposits of Kiruna, Sweden. Then coming to the late magmatic process, you can say the late magmatic deposits. They are formed towards the close of magmatic period. Close of magmatic period, the end stages, contains ore minerals which have crystallized at rather low temperature from the residual magma. Naturally, when they crystallize in the end stages, means they have the low temperature of crystallization. The magma which is left after crystallization of early formed rock silicates is called residual magma and rich in ore minerals. Associated with mafic igneous rocks and deposits, mostly ores of iron and titanium. The ores of iron and titanium are commonly found by this process. Right? This we already discussed, that is in there. Then this residual liquid segregation. Basic magmas undergoing differentiation may sometimes have become enriched in iron and titanium. This heavy residual liquid may segregate and crystallize within parent igneous mass. Such ore bodies commonly occur in form of parallel bands. The host rocks are usually anorthosite, norite, gabbro, and the common example of this type of is your titaniferous magnetite deposits of Bushveld igneous complex. Because this Bushveld igneous complex in South Africa is, you can say, the best example or which has been worked out for the different type of these magmatic concentration deposits, and there the diamonds are in the kimberlite, the other these titaniferous magnetite bands are in the your rocks, your norite and gabbro. Right. Then coming to your residual liquid injection. In such cases, residual liquid be squeezed out towards the place of less pressure into the neighboring rock masses, forming late magmatic injections. This titaniferous magnetite deposits of Adrenoch region of New York is an example of this. Same way it is, because the liquid is injected, this is why it is known as the residual liquid injection. Now, the other categories of immiscible liquid segregation and immiscible liquid injection. Means the liquid that is left in which was not submitted to magma, from the, if the deposits are from that, they will call immiscible liquid segregation. Sometimes magma of an ore and silicate composition break down during cooling, and two immiscible fractions which accumulate for segregation deposits. Sulfide mineral deposits generally are found by this, or you can take the example of your lead zinc deposit of Bihar, that is there, and this nickel copper sulfide deposit of your in Suiza, USA. Then immiscible liquid segregation, that is that, and then coming to that immiscible liquid injection. The immiscible injection accumulates before consolidation when subjected to disturbances, get injected into surrounding rock, just like in the residual liquid injection case. They get injected into the surrounding rocks, forming immiscible liquid injection. A nickel-ferrous sulfide deposit of Sudbury in USA is an important example of this type. Means you can see in the diagram itself is very clear. They get injected into that immiscible liquid. Now, a category of deposits known as pegmatite deposits, because you all know that pegmatites, they are found towards the end stages of consolidation of the magma, in which the residual fraction is highly enriched with volatile constituents. Pegmatitic liquids may be squeezed out to fill in the cracks and fissures in the parent igneous body or in the adjoining country rock and form pegmatitic veins or dikes. These are usually found between temperature 500 to 800 degrees centigrades. And the important deposits of pegmatite or minerals, they are of mica, feldspar, beryl, lithium minerals, gemstones, and tin like cassiterite included in the pegmatitic deposits. So this is all about these different processes which are found by the magmatic concentration processes, and as such, once again I repeat, because you take a simple, they are simple igneous rocks. Only because of some valuable elements that are present and that they stay during crystallization of magma. Due to that, they are called as the magmatic concentration deposit. Otherwise, as such, they are also the igneous rocks. Thank you very much. See you in the next class. Thank you.